All right, so today we're digging into a really fascinating case study from the world of American Greek life. We're going to look at what happens to the founding chapter of a major national fraternity when it loses the one thing that, for most people, defines it.
So what is a fraternity when you take away the frat house? I mean, really think about that. This is the big question we're going to explore today, and we're using the Hamilton College chapter of Alpha Delta Phi as our guide. It's a pretty wild look at how an organization has to completely reinvent itself.
To really get what this organization is now, we've got to look back at its history. There are basically two moments, two key dates that changed the entire game for them.
So check out this timeline. From its founding way back in 1832, this was your classic traditional fraternity for over 160 years. Then 1995 hits, and bam, the college says all students have to live and eat on campus. That one decision basically killed the classic frat house model overnight. And that's what forced this chapter to evolve into what it is today, a non-residential group that's actually advised by the campus itself.
You can see how the whole game had to change, right? When you don't have a house to anchor your social life, you've got to lean into something else. The focus just completely shifted. Suddenly, it's not about the party venue anymore. It's all about the power of the network and the strength of its reputation.
Okay, so what do you actually get if you join today? In this new reality, what does membership even look like? Let's break it down using the guide's own scorecard to get a really clear picture. First up, the Alumni Value Score. It's a pretty solid 67 out of 100. And this really gets to the heart of what they're all about. Now, but, and this is a big but, it's not the kind of network that works for everyone.
So if you dig in a little, you see exactly what this network is good for. It's an absolute powerhouse in traditional fields. Think law, finance, consulting, where a warm intro can change everything. But if your dream is to be a TikTok star or launch the next big streetwear brand, yeah, this probably isn't the network that's going to get you there.
All right, now let's flip to the other side of the coin, the stereotypical frat lifestyle score. And whoa, it's a 42 out of 100. That is low. And that number really tells a story, doesn't it? It's the story of what was traded away when the house went away. What you're doing here is trading chaos for composure. The upside? You get these really polished, structured events, a focused brotherhood, and basically zero drama. But the downside is pretty obvious, right? You totally lose that spontaneous, messy, anything-goes culture that defines the classic fraternity movie.
Okay, now this is where the guide gets really interesting. It uses this totally unique metric to measure, how close the members are. It's called the homoerotic level scale. Now, I know the name is designed to grab your attention, but it's actually a pretty smart way to talk about social bonding and intimacy.
So where does this chapter land? They're rated a level 4 out of 10. And level 4 is what the guide calls bromance tier. Think about it. It's not about spilling your deepest secrets. It's about real, practical support. Guys who will cook a meal together, be your gym partner, fix your tie before a big event, or even run you through a mock interview. It's that kind of healthy, functional closeness that just makes sense for a group that's all about composure, not chaos. Okay, so with all that in mind, how do you actually get a bid? What's the secret? Let's get into the playbook and see how you can ace the rush process. Look, the guide doesn't mince words here. If you want in, you have to project a very specific vibe. It's not about being the loudest guy in the room or the life of the party. It's about being seen as dependable, serious, and just composed. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, the green flags are all about maturity and being a team player. Sending a thank you note, asking smart questions, volunteering to clean up. The red flags? They're basically the exact opposite. Bragging about how much you can party, trashing other groups, promising things you can't deliver. You get the idea.
And when you actually get to the interview, there's a formula. And the goal here is not just to be a cool guy they want to hang out with, it's to prove that you are an asset, that you actually get what this organization is all about.
All right, here's the classic gatekeeper question they're going to ask. They really want to see if you've done your homework, if you understand what makes this chapter at this school totally different from any other.
And a killer answer, like this one here, does two things beautifully. First, it hits on the heritage, that founding chapter part. And then it connects that history directly to the modern situation, the policy reality. It just shows you've been paying attention and you know what you're signing up for.
Okay, and here's another big one. For a group that is so focused on its reputation and has to operate under the college's watchful eye, how you answer this is, well, it's pretty much everything.
And boom, this model answer just nails it. It shows you get that discretion isn't just about keeping secrets, it's an active thing. It's about protecting people, managing risk, and understanding that for them, trust is the brand. That's the whole ballgame.
All right, so we've looked at the history, the scorecard, the playbook. Let's bring it all together. Who is this fraternity really for? What's the final verdict here?
When you lay it all out like this, the choice becomes crystal clear, doesn't it? On one hand, you get that founding chapter pedigree, a powerful network, and a culture with zero drama. On the other hand, you have to accept there's no house, it could feel a little exclusive, and you've got to be pretty self-disciplined.
At the end of the day, the guide is saying this is for a very specific kind of person. Someone who actively chooses composure over chaos, heritage over hype. It's for the person who is playing the long game, building a reputation that's going to look great on a resume for years to come.
So, this whole deep dive really leaves us with one big provocative question. As more and more colleges tighten their grip on Greek life, is this the future? This houseless, policy-friendly model that's all about professional outcomes? Could this be the blueprint for where fraternities are headed? It's definitely something to think about.